Welcome, relatives. It is me, Lorenzo Serna. Again, if you're here earlier, we have a whole crew right now who's in Washington, D.C., speaking to people who have been elected, trying to advocate for the people. Again, I am your host, director of Tactical Media. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm Chicane. And I'm just going to bring them right in. If you were here earlier, we spoke to some folks. We're going to speak to a bunch of other folks, and we're just going to hear about what their day was like, who they were talking to, and what they were advocating for. Or, yeah, here we are. What's up, you all? Hey.
Hello.
Just really quick.
Hi.
Hey. Just really quick. I wanted to just have folks just introduce themselves fast. So I don't know if Nick, you want to go first, and we'll go to Hermus and Anissa. But Nick.
Hamandakiapi, Nick Tilsen, Amachapi, Chantel Washington up at Chuzapalo, Nick Tilsen, Oglala Lakota, from Pahisinte, via Mini Luzaha and Chesapa, and I am the president CEO of NDN Collective.
Hermus.
Hello, Hermus Bettelyoun. I'm Oglala Lakota, originally from Martin, South Dakota, or Bear Creek. Shout out to them back home, working and living it in Rapid City, working for NDN Collective.
And then Anissa.
Hamadakyapi, Anissa Martin, Amachiapi. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, but currently residing in Mini Luzaha, Rapid City, and I'm a action organizer with Indian Collective.
Right on, everybody. So
See, this is what happens when Ridgers moved to Rapid. That's what happened here, all three of us.
you want to go to Washington, D.C.?
They call this a war party.
Hey.
Down here.
3 or more.
It's written down. They wrote it down. It's a real thing. But no. So thanks everyone for joining us. Just wanted to. I know that I also talked earlier. I was thinking about. I'm already talking real fast, guys. Slow it down. But I know that you're all in Washington D.C. I know that I've gone there before with folks, and it always is an experience. Be it good or bad, just an experience. And I just kind of was wondering if you wanted just to refresh people, why go from organizing in Rapid City on the ground? I see you on the ground there all the time, working directly with the people, and now here you are in this whole different environment, trying to advocate. So I'm just kind of wondering what brings you there.
Yeah, I can jump in on that one. We Indian Collective is dedicated to building Indigenous power in multifaceted different ways, And the reality is that we will go to every place in which makes decisions over the lives of our people and makes decisions over the lives of our the lands of our people and the lives of our people. Whether that be county government, tribal government, state government, city government, and even the federal government, And so when we organize, we have to always bring our issues to light, and we have to be able to advocate for them, because the reality is if we don't, then the politicians have an excuse to not listen to us, and it's important that they hear what's happening in our communities. It's important that they hear what we're doing on the ground, what the actual conditions that we're trying to change, what we're trying to improve for our people. And so we traveled here all the way to Washington, D.C. It's a lot different than Porcupine, Pine Ridge, and Martin, and it's a lot different than Rapid City. But we travel all the way here because there's legislators, congressmen and congresswomen who make decisions over our lives. And so we're here advocating on behalf of the same things that we're doing, organizing in the community. We're bringing to light the racism that our people have been enduring. We're bringing to light the solutions that we're trying to create around community development, housing. We're here to advocate for land back. And to talk to our politicians about the return of sacred lands back to our people, and the work that we're doing to support the self-determination of Indigenous people everywhere. So those are the big reasons why we have come here, is because this work is an extension of organizing. It's an extension of organizing because at the same time, we want things to change on the ground. We need our politicians to understand how their laws are impacting our daily lives as Indian people. And so that's why we find ourselves here. I don't think any of us love to do this part of the work. It's very different and feels very different than organizing amongst our own people back home. But we understand it to be something that is necessary. So that's to put it in context a little bit of why we're here. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that, but those are my initial thoughts.
Well, we came up here to DC. This is where all the decisions are made for the people. Um, I always wanted to make a change for our people and take that stand. And part of taking that stand is making change, not just short term, but making the long term changes. And I feel like talking to the people who make these decisions up here. We went to the Department of Justice and spoke with the deputy director of um,
Office of
the
Tribal Justice.
department. Yeah, Office of Tribal Justice, Joanne Kentz, who's actually from the Pine Ridge Reservation from Allen, South Dakota. That's where her family comes from. And we spoke with her and, got some more insight on how we can bring the Department of Justice and investigation to the Rapid City area with the law enforcement on the way they treat our people. And hopefully this can take hold soon, and just know that we're human and we're not going to stand by the wayside anymore. And so we've been fighting racism in Rapid City, and people look at us like we're troublemakers, but we're not. We're taking that stand for the people, and every one of us love our people, and so that's the reason we're here. We're here to make that change, to make that next step, and I'll check there.
I don't know if Anissa, you wanted to add. I was like,
Yeah, I could add a little bit. So this is my second year advocating, and last year I took a back seat to just learn, because these spaces are new to myself, especially coming from the res. Like I'm I'm just a res girl, and I come to this setting, and it's entirely different. We gotta dress a certain way, talk a certain way, but I love when we're in these spaces because we're authentic. And so when we're in these spaces, it I've been in spaces where you do have to like code switch, and you don't get to talk about the things that are true to you. And so whenever we're in these spaces, when I'm here with NDN, the family, and I feel safe enough to talk about the things that you know, we're doing on the ground. And it's a special feeling to know that you're being advocated for when you're not in the room. And so yeah, I trust everybody who's here. We talked about different campaigns: the Rapid City Reverse Racism campaign, Free Leonard Peltier, Hesapa Land Back, Protect the Hesapa. So we talked about a lot of different topics, and this is only day one too. So yeah, I'm honored to be here, and I realize that it's a privilege as well. So just taking it all in and learning as much as I can from the folks who continue to do this work. But yeah, it's different. It's different work.
right on. So it's one, yeah, here. But yeah, so it sounds. Oh, another thing too, I noticed too when I went there once, I was like, there is Indigenous people in these halls. There is people from the communities in these halls. There is people who like came from the people who are in these halls, and I was really surprised. Like when I was there, I met folks. I was like, oh, okay, like you're this like a normal person who just like came from the hood or like came from like an experience that I came from, and I was always really surprised. So like hearing that, I'm like, yeah, totally. And so you said that you met with a lot of different like crews about land back, Hisapa land back, protect the Hisapa. You know, Rapid City versus racism is in there. I'm just kind of wondering like how did those meetings go, and like I mean, how would you explain that experience to people out here who are wondering what's going on?
Yeah, like one of the offices, we're mostly meeting right now. We're mostly meeting with staffers. There's they're in session, Congress, and so sometimes you got the senators and the members of Congress need to be in meetings and committee meetings and in votes. And so, especially this close to election, it seems like we're having more and more meetings directly with staffers, which people realize that the staffers is the ones who do a lot of the work,
Yeah.
right? They have to do a lot of like the actual work of drafting bills and then the leadership obviously like takes it and they vote on it and they debate over it and they fight for it. And so, I mean, at one of the meetings today that was powerful was Horsford from Nevada, who is a longtime civil rights advocate, has actually been a huge advocate for trying to abolish the school to prison pipeline. And so we got to bring our issues to um, to his staffer to talk about actually what's happening on the ground in Rapid City and talk about what's happening with the school to prison pipeline in Rapid City. Talk about the what's happening with the school resource officers and the violence that many of them have been inflicting on the Native students right in Rapid City. And we got to connect it to what's happening with the Rapid City Police Department and its mistreatment of Native American people right on the ground there in Rapid City. And, you know, the one thing that was very apparent right away is that the staffers there were very aware of these issues. They had actually created solutions to solving some of these issues in other cities and towns and states, particularly in Nevada in this case, where they were experiencing lots of police violence and lots of impact on youth that have been impacted by the prison industrial complex and the school to prison pipeline. And so it felt kind of refreshing because it felt like you were actually being listened to and it was that they cared. They actually cared about what was happening. They didn't pretend that it wasn't happening. They listened to what and they provided some insight. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Uh, Asking us about, hey, have you thought about reaching out to, the Office of Government Accountability and asking them to embark on some research into the Rapid City Police Department, um, and providing some other insight too. And so that was one of the meetings that I thought was pretty powerful. And then also in that conversation, land back came up too, because some of the work that we're doing around land back in Nevada and working with the Paiute and then Western Shoshone people in a strategy to get water rights and land back to the Western Shoshone and the Paiute people out that way too. And that was their district, and that was in Nevada. So it was important that we talked to the legislators from there too. So that was one of the conversations that I found to be it seemed like really like open-minded and that in fact we already received follow-ups directly from that meeting of ideas that they could wanted us to pursue too. So that was one of the more positive examples of what happens in those conversations.
That's I want more and more feedback from everyone else. I want to hear more about what's going on. But that's exciting too. This kind of hear the exchange of things that are working somewhere else and like like this worked here, like you can think about these things and you're able to like apply what's going on where you're at. You know, it's like this exchange of ideas is really kind of exciting. I don't know, Hermus and Anissa, either of you, what was your experience like today talking to folks, or who did you end up talking to?
Well, the lady from Nevada that we spoke to, she was really helpful in giving us insight and helping us with direction on which way to have different avenues to explore. And it really felt good, like we're supported in the work we're doing. And sometimes it gets discouraging because that fight seem like it's taking forever. Um, trying to get the long term change, those steps are really slow. But whenever you have your eye at the end of the road and your goal, then it'll get there at some point sooner or later. You just got to be patient and keep chugging away at it. And I really hope that um, more people will join in the fight, uh, standing as one as Native people. And I was just thinking about Nick talking about the Paiute and the Western Shoshone. You know, those lands are down in a different territory. But look at us, Oglalas. Still standing up here proud, fighting for the people, even in a different nation. I'll check there.
Yeah, I can. I thinking about last year and some of the folks that we met with were really dismissive, and it was kind of like it was just they were doing their due diligence of listening to us, opening their office so that we can talk to them, and then weren't really intrigued or asking us more questions, or it felt like they were just kind of letting us in just to push us right out. So I've had those experiences, but so far it's the people that we've met with today, which were Chairman Horsford, Staffer, and Representative Schatz, and then the Office of Tribal Justice, who are all pretty engaged and are aware of all of the things that we're bringing to the table. And the Chairman Horsford, his staffer was, asking all the questions and wanted to know all the stats about a lot of the things going on in Rapid City, and did offer a lot of good insight. And so, yeah, just really grateful for those conversations that feel like they're, I don't know, they have substance. So, yeah, these interactions today have been good, and grateful for that. And I feel that we bring a presence too, because we don't come in with like one or two people, we like fill the room. So that's also something that like I'm noticing. It does probably make a difference, because when we come in, it's like, oh, welcome, welcome, and they shake our hands, and then there's like five other people still coming in. So yeah, just really notice like our privilege in that too, that we get to show up in this way for our people. So yeah, a lot of gratitude.
I think the one thing too is like these meetings are strategic too. So we meet with different people based on different issues, and then also based on their role. Because there's the House side, the House of Representatives side, and then there's the other side that is the Senate side. And one of the reasons why we met with Brian Schatz's office today, he's a senator from Hawaii, is because he's the chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee. And so when somebody's the chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee, it means that Indian affairs and issues that impact the lives and lands of Indian people go through that committee. And Hawaii has historically been one of those states where their leadership has cares deeply about all Indigenous people, cares deeply about the issues that face the Kanaka on the lands in Hawaii. Um, they also, care deeply about what's happened to Indigenous people on the mainland. And so, former senators and Congress people, Senator Anyway, Daniel Akaka, and also now Brian Schatz have all been advocates. And so we got to meet with his staffer, and it's nice because they're well versed in Indigenous and Native issues. It's because they're on that committee, and so even if there's issues that we see that we want to bring forth, a year from now, 6 months from now, after the election, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is policies and different things that we can bring forth after the election in a 2025. What do we see happening on the horizon, and what are the different ways in which we can, make that happen? And so, and that's kind of what's that, and so we got to see the senior staff there at Senator Brian Schatz's office. We talked about land back. We gave a copy of the Land Back magazine that was produced by our team at NDN Collective to show and highlight the different efforts that are happening around land back, and that land back is tangible. It's a tangible way to achieve justice for Indigenous people and for Native people, and that we're actively working on it. We also got to highlight, since our inception, we've done about $5.4 million of investing into Hawaii in the form of grants and funding organizers on the ground there, and funding artists there, and funding collectives and grassroots organizing and arts projects. And it's important to these members of Congress that we bring up the issues that we're fighting for, but also because NDN Collective is about defending, developing, and decolonizing, it's important that we bring to light the work that we're doing as grant makers, the work that we're doing to resource Indigenous people in their effort of self-determination in their jurisdictions. And it helps the senators and the Congress people better understand what is the role of NDN Collective, how we are advocating for Indigenous people, and how we're investing into Indigenous people everywhere. And so it's really all parts of our work at NDN that we're able to talk about in these spaces, because there is a broad breadth of work, a depth of work that we do here at NDN. We do grassroots organizing, but we also do grant making, and we also do lending, and we also do community development projects, because all of those things are what is required and needed to meet the needs of our people. And so just wanted to share that perspective a little bit in some of those conversations that we had with the Senator Schatz's office there out of Hawaii.
I'm wondering, and so you're all in DC. You're there all week. So we have more meetings. This was just day one, so you have more meetings coming.
It's day one.
And is there any events, any ways people can connect with folks with NDN while you're there that you can share?
Yes,
Smoke
we have
signals.
our reception, smoke signals, and our reception on Thursday.
And I think
Yeah, we have a reception. Do you have one of those? I'm trying to think if we have one of those. But yeah, we have a reception in which we invite different staffers, different members, partners in the area, relatives. There'll be food there. So if you're Indian and you're in the area, come eat. Hey. But it's kind of more of an informal space for us to interact with folks too in a reception setting, because we have very formal meetings that are on the record and on books, in the halls of Congress. Um, and but then also the reception where we can share music and food and kick back and visit with people that are working here. And also it's kind of we always invite Indians that are working in DC too, who are working in the halls of Congress, are working in some of these agencies, to come break bread with us and visit and chat it up.
For sure, and I think the information should be in the chat. I think someone's dropping it, so the specifics will be there. Oh, there it is. Thursday, September 19th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eaton DC Hotel, Beverly Snow Room on the second floor. Join the Indian Collective for a reception. Boom, right there. And yeah, the link's in the chat as well. And also, there's other ways to get involved. If you want to just follow, you can sign up for our newsletter, get these updates as we do. And I had one more thing, and I know that people are really busy. I guess it's always, like I said, it's always just disorientating, like traveling in general. I'm always like, wow, now I'm here. You're in Rapid, now you're in DC, and I guess I don't know, like if Hermus or Anissa have any sort of like take on what that's like, this moving back and forth between these spaces and trying to advocate for our people, in these places where they're like, this is where all power resides, but we all know that all power resides back home, in the kitchen sometimes, where everything's decided. But yeah, I'm just kind of wondering what if you can speak to that experience of moving back and forth, and maybe what your hopes are at the end of this week, of hoping that what you would like to see.
Myself, I feel like traveling back and forth. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, but I'd rather be back home with the people. But there's times that we have to step out of our comfort zone and come to places like this. Whenever we want that long-term change, whenever we want that systemic change to come about, we have to come in. As we say, anytime you do something, you meet the creator halfway. And I feel like part of the fight that we're taking up is we have to meet halfway. We have to put in the work in order to get that change for the people. I'll check there.
I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, Anissa?
Yeah. Well, traveling can get just tiring in general. I think it's like a 2-hour time difference. Sorry, there's
The wee woos are out.
this. You gotta get used to this. All of us, just nosy.
Heard a siren. Everyone looking.
Hopefully there's no knocks.
Heard that
Yeah,
siren. All of us started texting our relatives. Hey, what's going on?
Where you at?
No, but yeah, being here and just navigating the tiredness and the, like Hermes said, stepping out of your comfort zone is definitely a part of this work. And it's like doing things that you sometimes don't want to do, but you know that you have to do it. And the fact that we get this opportunity is, there's another one. Oh, let's let it go by.
No, it's all good. I hear what you're saying. That it's like you're choosing to be uncomfortable. So my colleague always told me that like we choose sometimes to be uncomfortable, and that's a choice we're making for like the people, or for betterment. Really loud there. There's a lot going on, but yeah, I don't know if there's any like last thoughts or last words. I just wanted to check in really quick. We're gonna hopefully check in again tomorrow and see what that's like, and just kind of go from there. So, any last thoughts or words here?
Yeah, I wanted to wanted to say that this work that we do, a lot of times we understand that our ancestors and people have been doing this work a lot longer than us, and that we follow in the footsteps of many native people. Um, um, Many native people that have come here to advocate on behalf of our lives and what's happening in our communities. And some of them have had good experiences here, and some of them have had bad experiences here. Um, and but that we have to continue to be in these spaces, and we have to continue to fight for our people, and we have to continue to fight for our homelands, and we have to continue to speak truth to power. And so we do this work. We do this work because it's necessary, because we care about the future of our people. We care about changing the conditions that impact the lives of our people, and we care about us having the opportunity to be in the driver's seat of change of what happens in our communities. And so this is one way of doing it. Of course, NDN Collective is a multifaceted organization who believes in multiple tactics. You will see us engaged in advocacy. You will see us engage in community organizing and power building. You will see us engage in direct action on the front lines. You will see us roll up our sleeves to create solutions like building housing and community development, some of the work that we're doing on North Cedar Rapid there, and the work that we're doing in resource sharing too. And so we do it in multiple different ways, and it is our honor to do this work in an organic, authentic way for Indigenous people everywhere and with Indigenous people everywhere. And we will continue to be exactly who we say we are in these spaces. We don't change we don't change what we talk about. The same things that we fight for on the front lines and that we talk about in the streets, we're talking about in the halls of Congress too. And so, and that's how narratives are built. That's how narratives are maintained, and that's how change happens in the world. And so, I encourage folks, and I also acknowledge the many elders and people who have come before, uh, who who have done this work, and that we continue on their legacy in that way too. So just wanted to pay my respects and honor to them as well.
I don't know if Hermus or Anissa, you have any last thoughts or words to share?
So everything that Nick was saying resonates, and I think of this clip out of Reservation Dogs where she's sitting at a table and then like her ancestors are like multiplied behind her, and there's that saying, I stand as one but I come as 10,000 or 1,000.
Mm.
And so that's how I feel in these spaces as well. Thinking about like my own family's experiences with boarding schools and colonization, and seeing the direct impact on my own life, and knowing that we all have those experiences as well. So yeah, I'm honored to be in these spaces, and I'm just trying to move in the best way possible. So yeah, thank you for having us, though.
I'd like to say making change is really hard, and it's challenging at times, but the ancestors chose each and every one of us to put up a fight for our people and showed us and gave us the tools to do it. And we got to utilize that. And sometimes coming into these spaces and doing this work is part of that. And I mean, getting away from home, they always talk about you can take the res out of a person, but take the person off the res, but you can't take the res out of a person. I tell you what, that's really true. We got a couple of these ladies that came with us from back home, and they have that anti-laugh going on in the halls up here and echoing all way down. It's kind of crazy. Quiet spaces and they echo in the halls up here with their anti-labs. Even brought a crow with us too, so another challenge that we're facing up here. You know.
I appreciate it. But, well, thank you, thank you. I know that we didn't. There's probably so much more to talk about. We'll be checking in more throughout the week, and it's just always really a pleasure to hear you all talk and your words and your points of view. Like we work together, but I still like every time I just feel that like an honor for me to this feel to have this time with you in this way and share it with everyone else out there. So thanks everyone who's watching. I'm gonna let you get back to your day. I'm gonna close out this live, and just keep following. We'll have some more updates throughout the week. So thanks everybody. And if you hold on,
Sounds good.
or if you gotta go, just go. But appreciate you.
Take care.
Dokshaki.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here, they, them, Chicane, and just really thankful to be able to have these conversations and share with you all, to show you what folks are doing, how we're moving. You know, I talk a lot about how incredible it is to be here and see the different levels of work that are always going on. You know, we're working globally, we're working nationally, we're working locally, and like it's really happening. I'm just like I get to watch and experience and participate, and I'm just always really thankful. And then to hear people's words and for your time too, for joining us. And I know everywhere you're all at, you're doing what you can in the best way you can, and I'm honored that you spend this time with us here. And just remember to keep following the Indian Collective, like, follow, share, all that stuff. Let us know where you're watching from, and yeah, sign up for some newsletters. We'll give you updates, and we'll be back maybe tomorrow, probably more than likely. And yeah, I just really thankful for this time with you. So thanks for being here. We'll see you soon. See you next time.